Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Ameena Education. Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Ameena EducationWali from Rehan AI Teacher Training Level 1. I am batch 19 student. Today we have the topic how to identify and avoid toxic positivity. Uh, this is a very wonderful topic. Usually people won't talk about this. So let's discuss with this topic with ChatGPT. Hi ChatGPT.
Walaikum assalam, Ameena. That sounds like a fantastic topic, and I'm excited to dive into it with you. If you have any specific questions or angles you want to explore, just let me know and we can get started.
Okay, tell me what is toxic positivity in simple words?
Absolutely. In simple terms, toxic positivity is when people try to maintain a positive outlook at all costs and dismiss or ignore any negative emotions. It's basically the pressure to always be upbeat, even when it's not realistic or healthy. This can end up invalidating genuine feelings and making people feel guilty for being anything less than happy.
Okay, how is toxic positivity different from healthy optimism?
Great question. Healthy optimism involves acknowledging and accepting both positive and negative emotions, and then focusing on constructive ways to move forward. Is about balancing realism with hope and being compassionate towards yourself and others. On the other hand, toxic positivity ignores or dismisses those negative emotions, forcing a constant cheerfulness that can actually be harmful. So the key difference is that healthy optimism is balanced and empathetic, while toxic positivity is overly simplistic and dismissive.
Can positivity ever become harmful?
Yes, absolutely. When positivity becomes a blanket approach that dismisses genuine emotions or pressures people to hide their struggles, it can definitely be harmful. It can lead to feelings of guilt, isolation, and even mental health issues because people might feel they have to constantly put on a happy face. In essence, it can prevent people from truly processing and healing from their emotions. So while positivity is wonderful, it's important to keep it balanced and authentic.
Okay, why do people feel pressured to stay positive all the time?
There are a few reasons behind that pressure. One big factor is social and cultural norms that often value optimism and resilience, sometimes at the cost of authenticity. Additionally, social media plays a role as people tend to share their highlights and positive moments, creating a sort of illusion that everyone is always happy and successful. There's also a desire to protect others from discomfort or to maintain a positive atmosphere, which can lead to that pressure as well. Ultimately, it's a mix of societal expectations, media influence, and a genuine intention to be supportive, even if it sometimes backfires.
Okay, where do you commonly see toxic positivity?
You can find toxic positivity in quite a few places. For instance, on social media, where people often share only their best moments and gloss over struggles. You might also see it in the workplace, where there's an emphasis on staying positive and productive, sometimes at the expense of acknowledging stress or burnout. It can also appear in families where well-meaning relatives might tell someone to just look on the bright side instead of allowing them to express their true feelings. Even in educational settings or support groups, you might find it when people are encouraged to remain upbeat rather than addressing the underlying challenges. It's pretty widespread, but being aware of it helps us navigating better.
How toxic positivity affect mental health?
Toxic positivity can have a range of negative effects on mental health. For one, it can lead to feelings of guilt or shame for experiencing negative emotions, making people believe that it's not okay to feel anything but happy. This can cause increased stress, anxiety, and even depression, as people might feel isolated or misunderstood. It can also prevent people from processing their emotions properly, leading to unresolved issues and longer term mental health challenges. Ultimately, undermines emotional authenticity and can make it harder for people to seek help or support when they truly need it.
What emotions are most often invalidated by toxic positivity?
A lot of emotions can get invalidated, but some of the most common ones include sadness, grief, anger, frustration, and anxiety. For example, when someone is grieving and they're told to just look on the bright side, it can make them feel as though their grief isn't valid. Similarly, feelings of anger or frustration might be brushed off with comments like, just stay positive, which can prevent people from processing those emotions and finding constructive ways to code. Ultimately, any emotion that's considered negative can be invalidated, which can be really damaging in the long run.
Why is it important to allow ourselves to feel sadness or anger?
Allowing ourselves to feel sadness or anger is crucial because these emotions are natural and valid parts of our human experience. When we allow them, we give ourselves the space to process and understand what we're going through. This emotional processing is essential for healing and growth. Moreover, acknowledging these feelings helps us build emotional resilience and empathy, not only for ourselves, but also for others. It also allows us to address the root causes of those emotions rather than bottling them up, which can prevent long-term mental health issues. Ultimately, it's about honoring our full emotional spectrum and nurturing our well-being.
Can ignoring emotions delay healing?
Absolutely, it can. When we ignore or suppress our emotions, we essentially push those feelings down instead of dealing with them. Over time, that can lead to those emotions resurfacing in more intense or harmful ways, like increased anxiety, depression, or even physical symptoms. It can also prevent us from truly understanding the underlying causes of those emotions, making it harder to heal and grow. So, in short, acknowledging and processing our emotions is key to genuine healing and overall well-being.
Which phrases are example of toxic positivity?
There are quite a few phrases that can fall into that category. For example, telling someone to just stay positive or look on the bright side when they're going through a tough time can be an example. Other phrases include everything happens for a reason or just be grateful for what you have. Even saying it could be worse can unintentionally invalidate someone's feelings. These kinds of phrases can make people feel that their emotions aren't valid or that they shouldn't be struggling, which is why it's important to approach conversations with empathy and understanding.
Why does others have it worse invalidate feelings?
When someone says others have it worse, it can unintentionally minimize the person's own experiences and emotions. It can make them feel like their struggles aren't valid or important simply because someone else might be facing a different challenge. This can lead to feelings of guilt for feeling the way they do and can prevent them from fully processing and addressing their own emotions. Ultimately, it's important to acknowledge that everyone's feelings are valid, regardless of how they compare to someone else's situation. It's all about empathy and validating each person's unique experience.
What does emotional validation really mean?
Emotional validation essentially means acknowledging and accepting someone's feelings without judgment. It's about letting them know that their emotions are valid and understandable, regardless of the situation. It doesn't necessarily mean you agree with everything they feel, but it shows empathy and understanding. For instance, instead of saying, don't worry, everything will be fine, you might say, I can see that you're really upset, and that's completely understandable. This kind of response helps people feel heard, respected, and supported, which can really foster emotional healing and connection.
How can toxic positivity affect relationships?
Toxic positivity can really strain relationships because it can make people feel misunderstood or unsupported. When one person constantly dismisses the other's feelings or pressures them to stay positive, it can lead to a lack of trust and emotional intimacy. The person on the receiving end might feel invalidated or even isolated, and that can create emotional distance. Over time, it can also discourage open communication, making it harder to address and resolve conflicts effectively. Ultimately, it can hinder genuine emotional connection and make relationships feel less supportive and nurturing.
How can parents unintentionally model toxic positivity to children?
Parents can unintentionally model toxic positivity when they, for example, encourage their children to always look on the bright side or dismiss their negative emotions with phrases like, don't be sad or just be happy. While the intention is often to comfort or protect, it can sometimes send the message that certain feelings are unacceptable or that they should be hidden. This can make children feel that their emotions aren't valid or that they have to put on a happy face even when they're struggling. Over time, this can lead to difficulties in emotional expression and can even affect their ability to cope with challenges in a healthy way. So it's all about finding that balance of empathy and encouraging authentic emotional expression.
Okay. What role does social media play in promoting toxic positivity?
Social media plays a pretty big role in promoting toxic positivity because it often showcases highlight reels of people's lives. People tend to share their best moments, achievements, and happy experiences, which can create a kind of unrealistic standard. This can make others feel like they need to constantly appear happy or successful, even when they're struggling. The pressure to present a perfect image can lead people to suppress negative emotions and create a culture where it's not okay to express anything less than positivity. Additionally, algorithms that favor upbeat or inspirational content can reinforce this tendency, making it harder for people to find authentic, relatable content. Overall, social media can definitely amplify the effects of toxic positivity.
How can workplaces encourage emotional honesty instead?
Workplaces can foster emotional honesty by creating a culture of psychological safety where employees feel comfortable sharing their true feelings without fear of judgment or repercussions. This can be achieved by encouraging open communication, active listening, and empathy at all levels. Leaders can model this behavior by being open about their own challenges and demonstrating vulnerability, providing resources like mental health support, counseling, and training on emotional intelligence can also help. Additionally, recognizing and validating employees' emotions rather than brushing them aside can go a long way in building trust and mutual respect. Ultimately, it's about cultivating an environment where authenticity is valued and supported.
Okay. How do we set boundaries with people who dismiss our feelings?
Setting boundaries in those situations involves being clear and direct about your needs while maintaining respect and empathy. You can start by calmly expressing how their responses make you feel and emphasizing that your emotions are valid. For example, you might say, I appreciate your positivity, but I really need to express how I'm feeling right now. It's also important to be consistent and firm in your boundaries. If the person continues to dismiss your feelings, you might need to limit your interactions or seek support from others who validate your emotions. Ultimately, it's about protecting your emotional well-being and fostering relationships that are supportive and understanding.
Can acknowledging pain lead to stronger resilience?
Absolutely. Acknowledging pain is actually a crucial step in building resilience when we allow ourselves to fully experience and process difficult emotions. We're not only healing from them, but also learning how to cope and adapt. This process helps us build emotional strength and a deeper understanding of ourselves. Over time, facing and working through challenges makes us more adaptable and better equipped to handle future difficulties. In essence, embracing our pain helps us grow and become more resilient in the long run.
Okay. In this technology era, is there any tool or something so we can get help?
Absolutely. There are plenty of tools and resources available today. For instance, there are mental health apps like Headspace or Calm that offer guided meditation, mindfulness practices, and emotional well-being support. There are also online therapy platforms like BetterHelp or Talkspace that connect you with licensed therapists from the comfort of your home. Additionally, there are community forums and support groups online where you can share experiences and find empathy and understanding. And of course, there are plenty of self-help resources, podcasts, and educational videos that can guide you through emotional growth and resilience. It's definitely easier than ever to find help and support in this digital age.
Thank you so much, ChatGPT. That was a wonderful conversation with you.
You're so welcome. I really enjoyed our chat. If you ever have more questions or just want to talk, I'm here anytime. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.